joining me. You're watching In Deep on the Delta. This is the weekly fishing report for the week of March 31st. Got a lot to go over, and as you can see by the pictures that I was shuffling through in the start of the report, been a really good week. A lot of people are catching fish. A lot of people are catching big fish. We're going to get into that in a hurry, but I want to start off with a couple public service announcements, and they're things that you guys that are fishing out here really need to know. A lot of people are getting boarded by Coast Guard. I got boarded last week, and I've had at least 4 people that have corresponded with me saying that they've been boarded by the Coast Guard. No big deal. They're out checking, make sure everyone's safe, making sure we all know what's going on, and that we're out here being safe. I had a violation, and my violation was I did not have a mussel sticker on my boat. Now, in past years, when you pay for your registration, that sticker for the Delta has been included in the sticker. This year it's not included. So you can register your boat, but you also have to go to the Fish and Game website and get your mussel sticker. It's a $16 sticker. You can either do it online or you can go in and get your sticker. But if you get inspected, you will be out of compliance if you have not physically gone in and got your sticker. It is not included in your state registration when you get your boat. So keep that in mind. Now, I didn't get a fine. The officer advised that I needed one, gave me the information on how to get it. I went in, I did it online, but keep that in mind. I also found some information from one of the fellows that got boarded, said that he had his personal flotation device was a inflatable device like this. We wear them. Coast Guard basically says that, it's not they say, but it seems to be the law that if you have one of these and you're wearing it 100% of the time on the boat, this is a 100% okay, in compliance life vest. If you are only wearing this when the big motor is on and you're fishing without this vest on, like most of us guys at fish tournaments do, you're out of compliance unless you have a regular foam-filled or a standard non-inflatable life vest. So if you guys have any information besides that, let me know, because I know a lot of you guys may think that if you have this on board, you're okay. And you are okay if you wear it 100% of the time, but if you take this off when you're fishing, you're not in compliance unless you have this guy here. I also somebody said that these inflatables are only in compliance for anglers over 16 years old. So if you have a angler that's under 16, that angler needs not a inflatable vest, but a regular foam filled or whatever they're filled with vest. Now, for you guys that are maybe involved with the high school anglers or the youth groups, and you have information other than that, let me know. Hit me up with a comment and say, yeah, we're aware of this, and we make sure all of our kids have the standard vest, or just didn't know that. So with that, take that into consideration, and we'll see what kind of input I get from that, and if there's anything different than what I said, I'll let you guys know what's going on with that. So get your mussel stickers and make sure you're in compliance with your vest. Okay, let's get into the report, and we'll go through stripers real quick, and then we'll get right into the largemouth bass, because that's what I know most of you guys are interested in. Talk about river conditions. Everything's really good out here. We're talking, I'm going to say 62 to 64 degree water, and it's rising pretty much daily. If we get 75, 80 degree air temperatures, by the time you guys get out here this weekend, it's probably going to be closer to 64, 65 degrees. The average water clarity out here is 3 to 6 feet. I know I talked to Jeff Suhu. He's been out west, and because of the wind, we have had some wind out here. It's kicked up the water and it's rolled it up a little bit. He said he's had 2 or 3 feet of visibility in some of his areas, but generally just perfect conditions. We have a no moon right now, so there's going to be a minor march of females coming into the shallows. Our full moon is going to be around the 17th of April. That's going to be when I think the really first big flight of fish come into the shallows and actually do a lot of productive spawning. With that being said, there are fish in spawning now. A lot of people are talking about seeing fish on beds. I know some of the people are catching fish off of beds. It's been my experience where I've been at, the females are not locked onto the beds. Males are there, you can catch them, but the big females have not really been locked on. And I think that's going to change dramatically. Sight fishing for me hasn't been great so far, but you know, in the next week or so, I'm predicting that all of us will be seeing some of these fish, and they're going to be a little easier to catch. Okay, with that, what do we want to go over here? I want to start off with a picture of my friend Bruce. And Bruce, this picture is of Bruce, and this fish is he caught out of Folsom. And I just want to give Bruce a heads up. He had a little setback, health setback, hasn't been able to get out. And I wanted to slap this picture up there. I know Bruce loves to come down to the Delta. He's not driving a whole lot now, so he gets to fish Folsom. And Bruce, I'm glad you're out on the water. I'm glad you're catching fish. And I know when you get that license, you're going to be driving back down here to the Delta, and we'll see you on the water. So Bruce, congratulations. I'm glad to see you're back in the game. Let's start off talking about stripers, and very briefly, they're in the system. People are catching them, but it's at best fair. I talked to Jeff Suhu. He's doing fair. He's catching his fish, but he's saying there's just not a lot of fish in the system. Most of the fish, I believe, are still out in the bay. I talked to my son Nate. He's out there 2, 3, 4 times a week fishing the Carquinez Straits, all of the little tributaries, you know, in and around Vallejo and in there. And there's a ton of fish out there. A lot of his friends that he fishes with getting a lot of fish, getting a lot of nice fish, but for some reason they haven't moved into the Delta. Maybe it's because lack of rain, lack of water, fresh water pushing them up, whatever reason it is, they're just not filtering into the Delta. And Jeff from Suhu Sport Fishing said the same thing. Last year, this same exact thing happened, ton of fish in the bay. When they moved in, we had really good fishing for a short period of time. That's what Jeff is expecting, and I'll keep you posted on that. The guys that are catching fish down here are catching them on some of them on top water, and a bait that keeps coming up is just an old chrome with a blue back rattle trap. So if you need to catch a striper, throw on a rattle trap, move around a little bit, and you're probably going to pick up a few fish, but don't expect it to be great. Let's talk about the largemouth bass. A lot of fish coming in. Everything is on the upswing. We talked about some people catching fish in the shallows, sight fishing. Most of the fish this week were caught on plastic worms again. There are a few people getting fish on chatterbaits. I know Alan Fong has been out, and his key for success is at high tide. He's putting on a chatterbait and he's throwing it deep into the tules. He's pulling it back, hitting every tule that he can, every piece of structure. If there's a log in there, you want to hit that log, you know, work your areas fast and get those aggressive fish that are in, you know, up in the shallows at high tide. Get those at high tide. As soon as that tide starts moving out, Alan's been going to a worm just like everyone else, a Cinco, 6-inch Cinco, and he's been doing really well. And the key to all of this fishing seems to be across the board the first hour or two of the high outgo tide. As soon as the tide starts moving, the fish will pick up. Usually about an hour into that tide has been when everyone is catching fish, and the guys that are getting good numbers are catching them on Cincos. The guys that are catching big fish seem to be catching them on Cincos. There is a punch bite going on, and there is a chatterbait bite going on, and I'm sure there's guys out there that are catching them on crankbaits and probably spinner baits if you're out in a little cloudier water. But by far and away, that Cinco is the one you want to keep on, and for me it's just been a green punk and Cinco. The morning topwater bite has been better for me than the evening topwater bite. Good sized fish coming on the top waters and good numbers, but the bite window is short. Like, we're talking 20-30 minutes. So if you're coming from out of town, it's not worth getting up at 3 in the morning to get out here for a 20-minute bite window in the morning. If you're out here in the afternoon, you may want to stay till the evening and just have a lot of fun. My top bait has been a river to sea bubble walker, walking baits, slow moving baits, frogs. I'm sure I had fishing with my buddy Ted a couple days ago, and I mean, he had a huge blow up on a frog. Didn't get the fish, but I'm sure frogs are working. Stay to the slower moving baits. Buzz baits haven't been working for me. I've got this jackall bounty fish. We talked about that. I did a review on this. This thing here is getting bit. I'm replacing my frog with this, and I'm going to really give this thing a good shot this year, and I think I'm going to get some big fish. So that's that jackall bounty fish. If you don't have one, give that thing a try. So topwater bites going. Let me hit up my buddy Don, who is a kayak angler, and he gave me some information on the ABA kayak tournament last week. They had 40 anglers, 2-day tournament. They had over I think 430 fish weighed in, and 25 of those fish, I know they don't weigh them, but according to their measurements, would have went over 5 pounds. Now, Don on his first day had 5 fish that were 102 inches. One of them was 23 1/4, which is generally right around 7 to 8 pounds. But he had 5 fish over 20 inches out of a kayak, and if you look at that, probably would have been right around 26 pounds, somewhere in there. Give a pound, take a pound. In a kayak, that's excellent fishing, and for 40 anglers to pull 430 fish out of kayaks, that's telling you that the fishing is very good out here, and these guys are catching big fish and they don't have to move far to get them. So that should be a lesson for all of us guys running around in boats. With the price of gas right now, I know a lot of guys aren't going as far as they used to, and you don't have to. This is the time of year when these fish are going to start really coming into the shallows. Like I said, around the 17th we have a new moon phase coming in, and it's really the time to be out here. Everything is pointing in the right direction. Right now you want to keep that Cinco on, but keep an open mind with other baits. I think chatterbaits and topwaters they're number 2 and 3 right now, but they're going to move right into one of those top spots before long, along with frogs, and punching is always good out here. Remember, if I didn't mention it early in the program, they are starting to spray for vegetation. You're going to start seeing the vegetation die off. That's not natural die off. They are spraying. Again, it's a necessary evil. Give them a little break and let them do their thing, and work around that. We're going to get into some real fun fishing. Hope you guys are having a good time. If you haven't been out on the water, make sure you get on the water. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. And with that, thanks again for watching. We'll see you guys on the water.